Welcome, everybody, to what I am tentatively calling Lessons from Theros. So, pre-release weekend has passed us by, and a lot of the new mechanics have just started up. So there are quite a few new mechanics, one of which is Bestow. So, a lot before this weekend, there's a lot of speculation. Okay, how it'll work, how awesome these mechanics will be, how and overall, excuse me, and overall, you know, whether the mechanic itself is good or bad. So, Bestow itself is actually pretty amazing, with the exception that the Bestow costs are typically very high. So, this 5 mana cost Bestow is actually one of the lower cost Bestows, and is typically on more powerful effects. So, just so you know, Bestow is a new mechanic. Basically, you can cast this creature as an enchantment, an aura, and enchant a creature with it. Now, if the creature that you're enchanting disappears before the enchantment resolves, so you paid 5 mana, turn him into a creature, turn him into an enchantment, cast it on your creature. If this creature dies for some odd reason, either gets killed, exiled, whatever, unsummoned, this will not actually fizzle. What'll happen is that it'll come down as your creature. So you pay 5, bestow it on your creature. Say, so if I pay 5, a blue and 4, and I want to attach it to my Baleful Eldalon, which I cast as a creature. If my opponent shocks it in response, it dies. I then get a 2/2 flyer, as if I had cast it as a 2/2 flyer. Naturally, of course, it's sure you get 2/2 flyer for 5, but the fact of the matter is that you don't actually lose it, so it keeps its value. So just not on the creature that you want to enchant it on. The same thing also when if your creature's already enchanted with bestowed enchantment, if they kill this, and if somehow the enchantment falls off, so let's say I either shock this while this enchantment is on, or if I give this creature protection from blue, basically it'll fall off. This enchantment will fall off and become a creature. It's a very innovative mechanic, and to be honest, I really like it. It's been very effective. With some problems, of course. The bestow mechanic, the bestow cost is very expensive. So this is one of the cheaper ones and one of the better ones too. So bestow for only 4 gives your creature +2/+2 and reach. So this is actually one of the better ones. For green, it's easy to get 4 mana, right? With so many mana generators, so many ways to ramp mana, 4 mana is nothing, and it's a good enchantment overall. So green, that was an example for good bestow. Um, I do have a sample of an expensive one, which is the Sheer Point or Deed. Uh, for 6 mana, you give a creature first strike and +2/+2. Still a good effect, but I have had so much trouble getting to 6 mana on the pre-release, and that's at the pre-release. That's where, where the format is pretty slow. However, for my relatively aggressive deck, 6 mana was very difficult to reach. So I usually end up casting him as a creature. A 2/2 first striker is is nothing to sneeze at, really. So uh, as a creature, so again, speaking of which, the decision whether to cast him as a creature or cast it as an aura is really left to the situation. For example, in the faster red deck, if you've got a couple of these already, it might actually be useful to bring him on the table. Let's say you don't have any creatures at all. It's probably better to bring him on the table as a 2/2 first strike, to just put something on the board to get your board presence built. And really, like I said, 2/2 first strike will stop almost anything. It'll anything with 2 toughness, right? If you got combat tricks, that will also help out, right? So again, you get immediate board presence together with whatever other creature you cast on turn 1, turn 2. On turn 4, assuming you have green mana, you can easily cast this, enchant him. You can enchant your first striker with reach and additional +2/+2. He becomes a 4/4 first strike with reach. So again, more often than not, this particular card I played as a creature. Simply because 6 mana is just way too long to get. And again, it depends on your deck. If your deck is built to be slow, then perhaps casting him as an enchantment for your bigger creatures is better. But if you're for faster decks that need, that you need constant tempo, you may want to just play him as a creature. Pretty much goes with almost every other bestow creature. You also have to make sure to check the bestow cost versus the actual mana cost and effect. So like for Life Crown Dryad, you can cast him as a bear with reach, 2 for 2, or for just a little bit over that, just extra 2 mana and 4 mana, it gets this effect. So again, it's really up to you, or up to the situation, and up to the deck that you built, whether or not you actually have room to cast it as a creature or as an enchantment. This one in particular is just 5 mana. 5 mana is pretty easy, right? Things like this, it just can get a little bit difficult to cast. So that's Bestow, and its effectiveness really depends on the quality of the bestow or the enchantment itself, as well as the quality of the creature that will come along with it. One thing to note too is that since they are enchantment creatures, even if they are a creature, they will die disenchants. Anything that works on enchantments will kill this thing. So I do have a card that had protection from enchantments, and this couldn't get blocked. So this can't block that. So basically, yeah, it's still an enchantment even if it's a creature. So its easy way to get rid of it is a naturalize for very cheap mana, And yeah, even if you cast it as a creature, another thing, even if you cast it as a creature, and this can be targeted by counter spells that counter only enchantments. So annuls will stop it. So 1 mana, it stops your creature. So it's got its upsides, downsides, but really it's just the flexibility that makes this bestow mechanic pretty good. So don't play all kinds of bestow. They're not all made equal. This one is actually pretty good, except for the high bestow cost, but giving something death touch might be worth it. Depends again on how you build your deck. So yeah, just check on the effect. What's the effect of the creature? What's the effect of the enchantment? How much is it actually going to cost you? And also, of course, depends on the actual game you're playing. Is it, is there some tempo? Are you trying to be fast? Or is it something where you're trying to stall? Both sides are stalling. Yeah, so just, but still, always best to just choose your quality bestow. Alright, well, that's Bestow. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.